world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. Albert Einstein. Ever since I was a child, Spiderman was my hero. I always read about his adventures and watched his cartoon series. As I grew a bit older, I only furthered my knowledge about the friendly web-slinger. With the hundreds of adaptations of Spider-Man throughout Marvel's multiverse and the many movie versions of Spider-Man, I wanted to clear some gray areas on Peter's origins, abilities, and his personality traits. As Spider-Man is destined to make more appearances throughout our lives, whether in the comics or the big screen, for example, in his newest movie, Spider-Man Homecoming, where he fights the Vulture, it'll be great to show your friends your knowledge of what they may be, or what may be their beloved hero. Throughout my speech, you will learn many things about the famous Spider-Man. You will gain a deeper understanding of his origins, his ability, and his personality traits. Firstly, let's begin by talking about Peter Parker's transition into Spider-Man, or his origin story. Peter Parker is orphaned as a baby due to an overseas plane crash killing his parents. He was then taken in by his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Peter Parker, being academically gifted, fell in love with science, but being painfully shy, he was a victim to the common bully, much like most of us probably were at one point in our lives. Whilst attending a public science exhibit, he was bitten by the radioactive spider at the mere age of 15. This bite giving him various powers and abilities. Most importantly and most famously, he was given the sixth sense, or what people refer to as the Spidey senses. These Spidey senses will give him kind of an alert to incoming danger, allowing him to easily dodge the attack. Speaking of power, Spider-Man has some of the best abilities ever. As we all know, when Peter Parker got bit by the spider, he changed on a molecular level. But what changes and how many? Firstly, after he is bitten, he undergoes a molecular change to his body, giving him an arachnid's proportional strength and agility, meaning he has the power of a human-sized spider. According to Nat Geographic, a spider is capable of lifting around 50 times its own body's weight, meaning Peter Parker can lift at least around 8,500 pounds. However, he has exceeded this immensely. Peter's ability to climb walls are also truly remarkable. He is capable of climbing walls in the same science that allow geckos and spiders to climb walls. Researchers at the University of Cambridge in England stated that if a human were to evolve into a sticky pad climber, about as much as 40% of a person's total body weight, or 80% of a person's front, would need to be covered in adhesive foot pads. Lastly, Peter Parker's personality is what truly makes him a hero. Our personality is what makes us human, but Peter Parker's personality is what makes him Spider-Man. Everyone in their lives will face tragedy, but what we do after it is what defines us. Peter Parker faces tragedy before he's even a kid. But that's not all. At the age of 15, while transitioning into Spider-Man, he deals with the tragedy of his Uncle Ben dying. Peter could have taken this tragedy in a bad way and became a menace instead of the hero that we all know him to be. Not only did he face these tragedies, but to help his Aunt May with the finances, he takes a job at the Daily Bugle, where he sells photos of Spider-Man to a man who hates Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson, despite Spider-Man rescuing his son from a malfunctioning space capsule, Jonah used his newspaper to publicly condemn Spider-Man as a menace. Despite all of this, he stays the hero. Ultimately, Peter Parker is probably one of the most beloved heroes because he is the most relatable hero. Today you have learned a deeper understanding of everyone's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and now you have more insight on Peter's origins, his powers, and his personality traits. Now that you know more about Peter Parker, maybe you can have a better understanding when you read or anything involving Spider-Man.